one of the apostles, was a steward of God. A steward. Never forget, a steward is a dispenser. A steward is a dispenser, dispensing all the riches of God to God's children. Paul, as one of the apostles, was such a dispenser. He was such a steward. Yet, here in this chapter, as such a steward, he called himself a prisoner. And it is so strange, he called himself a prisoner of the Lord. What does this mean? A prisoner of the Lord. What does this mean? Well, this simply means, in the human eyes, Paul was imprisoned by the Roman Empire. Am I right? But I tell you, actually, in the eyes of the angels, even in the sensation of Paul, and those who do know the spiritual situation, Paul was not actually imprisoned by the Roman Empire, but he was imprisoned by Christ. Do you all agree with me? Paul was imprisoned by Christ. So Paul became the prisoner, Paul became the prisoner of Christ. Why? Because he was imprisoned by Christ. Later on, he called himself not only the prisoner of Christ, but also the prisoner in Christ. He was imprisoned in Christ. Christ, have you ever heard, is Paul's prison. You all have to realize someday you'll be imprisoned in Christ. Amen. The very Christ whom you love will be your prison. Amen. Do you like it? Amen. I dare not to say that. Do you really love a prison? Say it. Especially the sisters. Do you love a prison? Do you like to be imprisoned? Yet, I tell you, I'm not a prophet, but I like to predict that someday, if not tonight, maybe tomorrow. If not this week, maybe next week. Maybe another month. Maybe not too far from 1979. You'll be put into prison. You'll be in prison. Who is your prison? Christ. Christ. I tell you, you have to realize every steward of God, that means every minister of God's riches to his children, sooner or later will be imprisoned not only by Christ, but also in Christ. In Christ. Eventually, every lover of Jesus, every faithful follower of Christ will be imprisoned in Christ. The more you love him, the more you will be in him. And eventually, to such an extent, he will be a prison to you. And I have to tell you, once you get into this prison, you will never be like, you will never like to get out. Once you get in, you will never like to get out. You love this prison. You just love. Why? Because here you enjoy Christ at the uttermost. We all have to thank the Lord that the top revelation in the whole Bible was seen by these prisoners in prison. as a steward of God, saw the top revelation, the top of the mystery of God. Where? In prison. And don't think his prison was the Roman Empire's house. Don't consider this way. You have to realize while he was in prison there, his real prison was Christ. He was in Christ in prison. He was enjoying Christ to the uttermost. The Roman Empire people thought that Paul was imprisoned in a house, but to Paul himself, he didn't have that kind of sensation. You see, his sensation was that he was there right in Christ. He was imprisoned in Christ, and he was enjoying Christ directly. Amen. I like to hear this. He was there, imprisoned in Christ, enjoying Christ to the uttermost. For whom? He says, on behalf of you. In Ephesians. These 6 chapters mean too much to us. Oh, this is the top. This is the top of the New Testament revelation. But don't forget, this top revelation came to one who was enjoying Christ as the prison. Talking about the revelation, do you realize that to see something so heavenly, so divine, you need to be a prisoner? You need to be a prisoner. I tell you, the more freedom you have, the more blind you will be. Have you ever heard this? Do you like freedom? But let me tell you, the more freedom you have, the more blind you will be. If Christ today becomes a prison to you, I tell you, your eyes will be clear. The sight, the sight will be with you. Then you will see the heavenly vision. You will receive the top revelation. Yet you receive such a top revelation, not for yourself, but for what? For the church. On behalf of you. For the church. Today, the churches or the church needs, again, such revelation. You know why the book of Ephesians is in the Bible, yet so many Christians reading Ephesians again and again, they just don't see. Right? They just don't see the revelation here. Why? Let me tell you why. They are not imprisoned. They are not imprisoned. They are too free. They are too free. You see, their being free causes them to lose the sight. I tell you, the sight will come to you if you are willing to lose your freedom. Which do you want to lose? The freedom or the sight? Which do you want to get? It's really good. We have to pray, Lord, for the sight. I like to lose the freedom. Lord, in you, I don't like to be free. I like to be imprisoned. I like to be concealed. I like to be just right in you. In others' eyes, I'm suffering. But in your eyes and in my sensation, Lord, I am enjoying you to the uttermost. I tell you, this kind of enjoyment by being imprisoned in Christ gives you the highlight. then you receive the revelation.